Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will take up the part 3 of the release strategy of purchasing documents. In the part 1, we had seen an overview of the release strategy of the purchasing documents, which included both purchase requisitions and external purchasing documents like purchase order, contract, scheduling agreement. In the part 2, we had created and tested a new release strategy for item-wise release of purchase requisitions. Now in the part 3, we will create and test a new release strategy for overall release of purchase requisitions. So here the business requirement is as given below. As per the business requirement, there will be three release codes: T1, which is purchase supervisor; T2, which is purchase manager; and T3, which is the plant manager. And this release strategy will have the below characteristics. Plant will be 9110, purchasing group will be M03, purchasing document type will be ZRNB, and total value of requisition will be more than 50,000 INR rupees. If you are working in different countries, you can create the characteristic as per your currency. Now, as we know very well, the configuration stops. The configuration involves the below steps. Step one will be create the characteristics for the release strategy. Step 2 will be create the clause for overall release of the purchase requisition. And step 3 will be create the release strategy for the overall release of purchase requisition. Now, to create the release strategy, we have to use the below steps. First is we have to create the release group. Here we will call it as R1 for overall release of the requisition. Then create the release codes T1, T2, T3. Then create the release indicator. And step number 4 is create the release strategy. And here the release strategy will be TT. We will call it as TT. Okay. We'll take up the first step here. Create the characteristics for the release strategy. So already, we have seen the characteristics: plant, purchasing group, purchasing document type, and total value of requisition. So here we will use the same characteristics, right, for the plant and purchasing group. So let me take you to the configuration here. So for example, here I will go to the edit characteristics here. FRG EBAN works, which is for plant. Okay, put it in display. This one we have already created in the part 2. Here, the description was plant, and here, it is the character format, and here number of characters is 4, and here, we have to select multiple values. Then descriptions, if you want, we can add the description in different languages. English, it will be default. If you want, we can add it in different other languages. Then in the additional data, in the table name is CBAN, field name is works, and in the restrictions, it is very important, the class type is 032. Okay, which is the standard release strategy for purchase, okay, which is the class type for the purchasing document types. And here, if you see the field name, right, so all these fields, right, for the characteristics are taken from the table CBAN or structure or table. Okay, we can see this table in S11, which I have already shown you in the part 2. Put CBAN and click on display. Here we can see all the fields which we can use as characteristics to create the release strategy. For example, here purchasing document type. Here you can see the field is BSCRP. Then for purchasing group, we can see the field is EKGRP. For plant, we can see the field as works, and total value of the requisition little bit down here. Then this total value of requisition. Here we can see total value of requisition for overall release procedure, which is GFWRT. Okay, so these are the fields which we are going to use here. Okay, I'm just highlighting these fields again here: EKGRP and also works plant and the total value of the requisition. Okay. So now this plant already, I have shown you here. This characteristic plant trait we had already created. And here in the restrictions, we had used 032. Okay. The next is purchasing group. Okay. The field is EKGRP. Okay. Purchasing group here display. We have already created this in the previous part, which I had shown you very clearly in the part 2. Here the description is a purchasing group, and here it is character format, and the number of characters is 4 here. Okay. And here in the additional data, the table name is CBAN as usual, and the field name is EKGRP. This is very important. Okay. And in the restrictions, okay, we can see it is 032, which is the standard class type for release strategy of purchasing documents. And in descriptions, by default, this is in English. And if you want to add the description in other languages, we can add it here. We can see here in Japanese and some other languages. Okay. Purchasing group. It is then, which is the next characteristic. Next is purchasing document ZRNB. Okay, ZRNB. So let us go to the characteristics here again. The field is BSCRT display. Here the purchase requisition document we can see here, and it is character format, and number of characters is 4. It is standard. Okay, because here the number of characters in the document type, that is in the standard SAP, is 4 only, maximum 4. Here, if we see the additional data, we can see the table as CBAN and field name is BSCRT, and in the restrictions we have again as usual the class type will be 032, which is the standard class for release strategy of purchasing documents. And in the description, if you want, we can add it in different languages. Okay, so this is the here. And here in the values, it is not mandatory to add all the document types here. If you want, we can add our document type, right, which is ZRNB here. Okay, ZRNB here, which is for the purchase requisition document type for overall release of requisition. Okay, overall release. Or yes, okay, whatever it is, we can add here if you want. Okay, so that is about the characteristic of purchasing document. Next is total value of requisition. Okay, so for total value of requisition, the field which I have already shown you here, field, what is the field here? Let me go here. Let me go to that here field. Let me scroll down here. Field is GFWRT. Okay, which is the total value of requisition for overall glades. Okay, for this one, we had to create a new characteristic here. So I have already created a characteristic here. Let me go here. FRG underscore EBAN underscore GFWRT. This is the new characteristic I have created for the total value of requisition or overall release of purchase requisition. Description I have given as total value of requisition for overall release. And here it is currency format. It should be currency format, and the number of characters, if we want, we can add 13 or 15, whatever it is. And currency I'm going to use is INR, Indian rupees. Okay, here multiple values is selected and interval values are allowed. This is also we have to add it here. Then in the description, I have given it is in English. If you want, we can add it in different other languages. And in the additional data, the table by default it will be CBAN, and the field will be GFWRT. Okay, because this field we have seen in the taken from the structure for CBAN. Okay, total value of requisition, which will be GFWRT. Okay, and the restrictions by default, this class type should be 032, which is the standard class type for release strategy of purchasing documents. Okay, so now we have created all the four characteristics for the total or overall release of purchase requisition. Okay. So now let us go to the step number 2. Step number 2 is create the class. Okay. So where is the create? Let me go to the step number 2 here. Create class for release strategy of purchase requisition for the overall release strategy of purchase requisition. For overall release strategy of purchase requisition. Okay, because in the part 2 we had done it for item level. Here, it is for overall release. So step 2. Okay, we will create the class. Here, for overall release of purchase requisition, the name of the class, we will call it as FRG underscore EBAN underscore total. Okay, you can give any name as you like, but I have given this name. And the class type will be 032. Okay, let me go to here in the configuration. Here, edit class. Okay, edit class. Click here. Here, FRG underscore EBAN underscore total. And the class type will be 032. Here, click enter or click on this display. Here, I had given the description of requisition item, requisition, total release strategy. Then here in the characteristics, right, we had to add whatever the characteristics, we are going to use for the overall release of purchase requisition. As usual, the plant, okay, purchasing group and total value of the requisition and purchase requisition document, BSART, okay. We have to add all the four characteristics, whatever we have created for the overall release of the purchasing document. Now we will come to the step 3 of the configuration, which is creating a release strategy for overall or total release of the purchase requisition. So here there are 4 steps. First, we will create a release group for the overall release of the requisition, and the release group we will name it as R1. Then we will create the release codes T1, T2, T3. Then the step 3 is create the release indicator, and here in the release indicator we can use the standard indicators which are provided by SAP. No need to create any new release indicator, but still if you want we can create a new indicator. Then the last step here is create the release strategy for the overall release of the purchase requisition, and we will name it as TT. Okay, let me go to the configuration here. Here, this is the configuration part we know very well: material management, purchasing, purchase requisition, release procedure, procedure with classification, setup procedure with classification. Okay, click on setup procedure with classification. Here, double click on the release groups. Here, click on new entries. So the release group is R1, and the class just now we have created for total or overall release of purchase requisition is FRG underscore EBAN underscore total. And here you can use the name as total release of purchase requisition. And here, overall release of purchase requisition, one checkbox is there. It is very important. We have to select this. Okay. For release group of item-wise release of purchase requisition, no need to select this checkbox. This checkbox should be selected only, okay, when you are creating the release group for the total release of the purchase requisition. Okay, I have checked this one and I click save. You will get this by default. Transport request. Click continue. Okay, so I have created the release group. So step number 1 is over. Next is step number 2. We will create the release codes T1, T2, and T3. Okay, so here I will go back. Here I have created, we can see here total. Back here in release codes. Double click on the release codes. Go for new entries. Here the release group is R1 and code is T1, and the description is purchase supervisor. R1 code is release code is T2. Here it is purchase manager. Code is R3. Sorry, the release group is R3 and the release code is T3. and the description is plant planning. Okay, add this here, release codes for the particular release group R1 and save. R3, sorry, R1. It is R1. Okay, release group is R1 only. So we have to make sure that, we have added the correct release group. Yeah. So this one we have saved here. Okay. Release group is R1 for the overall release of the purchase requisition, and these are the three release codes T1, T2, and T3, which we are going to use for the release strategy. So we have created the release codes back. If after you go back here, you will be able to see this one. See, here you can see the release group R1 and the release codes we have just now created. Okay, back. So the step number 2 is over. Step number 3 is release indicators. Double click on the release indicator. So here, we can see so many release indicators, but the important release indicators are, yes, blocked. That means before a purchase requisition is released, it will be blocked. And the release indicator ID means the purchase requisition, once it is released, we can create a request for quotation with respect to the purchase requisition. Then the release indicator 2. Here, if the purchase requisition after release has status 2, then that purchase requisition can be converted to request for quotation or a purchase order. Okay, so we will use these, standard, indicators. So normally we are going to use this one too. Okay, once the purchase requisition is released, it will be having the indicator 2, because the advantage is we can create a request for quotation or a purchase order with respect to the purchase requisition. Okay, so these are more than enough, and we will use these same release indicators as given by standard SAP. Then finally we will come to the step number 4 to create the release strategy. Double click on the release strategies here. Here we will add new entries. The release group is R1. The release strategy will be TT. We will give any description or total release of purchase requisition. Or purchase requisition release that total, or we will give it a total release of purchase requisition. Okay, we can give that one. And here the release codes will be T1, T2, and T3. Just press enter, you will get the description of the here. We will make it a little bit different here. Release strategy. Overall strategy total PR purchase, whatever it is. So we will call anything else because it is limited to characters. Okay. Now we will save this one. Okay, we can save it now itself, or after doing the prerequisites and status all, we can save that one. Okay. Now go to the release prerequisites. Okay. Click on the release prerequisites. Here, we can set up here who has to release the purchase requisition before who can release it. Here we can see there are 3 release codes, and here the starting or the first release code is purchase supervisor, and the second one is purchase manager. So here we can see here this is the first T1, T2, and T3. This is the one. So here for the T2 or the purchase manager to release the purchase requisition, it should be released by the purchase supervisor here. Okay, T1, which is at the top. So here we have to check this one. For T2, if you check here in the top, T1 is there. So the meaning of this one is for T2 to release the purchase requisition, T1 should already release it. Okay. Then coming to T3 here. For T3 to release the purchase requisition, T1 and T2 should release the purchase requisition. So we had to check T1 from the top here, then T2 here, T2. That means here, if you check these two checkboxes for T3, this means T1 has to release it, and this means T2 has to release it. So what is the meaning of this one? For T2 to release the purchase requisition, T1 should release it. For T3 to release the purchase requisition, both T1 and T2 should release the purchase requisition. Okay, we'll continue. This is done. Next, coming to the release statuses. Okay, click on this second one, release statuses here. Let me scroll a little bit here. If you see here, the first status is, the first release indicator is yes, which is blocked. Why it is blocked? Because it is not released by either T1, T2 or T3. Therefore, it is blocked. The second indicator is also here blocked. Why it is blocked? Because it is released only by T1 and T2 and T3 have not released it. Third one is also blocked. Yes, indicator is yes, which is blocked. Why? Because only T1 and T2 have released, but T3 has not released the purchase requisition. The last entry is, fourth entry is, the release indicator is 2. That means the purchase requisition can be converted into RFQ or purchase order because it is released by all the 3 release codes. I mean to say it is released by T1, T2 and T3. All have released this, T1, T2 and T3. Hence, the release indicator 2 means the purchase requisition can be converted to RFQ or purchase order. Okay, so just click on continue. Then coming to the next, classification, click on classification. So here, we have to, this is very important. We have to input the values of the characteristics for which plant, which purchasing group, what total value of the requisition, and what purchasing document type. This total release strategy of the purchase requisition will be activated. This is very important. So as we have seen here in our requisition here, so let me go to the top here. The plant is 9110, purchasing group is M03, document type is ZRNB, and total value of requisition is more than 50,000 INR. So I had to add this characteristics here, value of the characteristics here. Let me go here. Plant is 9110, plant. Then purchasing group is M03. Then total value of requisition is more than 50,000 INR, more than INR. If you put 50,000, it will automatically catch the currency. Okay, automatically from the characteristics, because in the characteristic for total value of the requisition, okay, we have given the currency as INR. So automatically it will come from the characteristics. Then the document type, purchase request document type will be ZRNB. Okay, so let me input ZRNB. Okay. Okay, so that also we have seen here. Okay, I'm going to show you that again. That document type, purchase requisition document type, ZRNB. So that is reference IMG. Here, material management, purchasing, purchase requisition, define document types. Click on define document types. Here, ZRNB. ZRNB. If we just, let me scroll this to the left actually. Here, yeah, this is too much space is there. We can see here the overall release of the requisition is checked actually. Okay, so that is why we are going to use it as this document type ZRNB. Okay, and this purchase requisitions which are subject to release strategy will be created with the document type ZRNB. Okay, so that means if we create a purchase requisition with document type ZRNB for the plant 9110, for the purchasing group 03, and if the total value of the requisition is more than 50,000 rupees, then only this release strategy will be activated. Okay, so let me go here. So these are the again the values of characteristics in the classification. Okay, go back. Now you can save this one. So here what we have done, we have given the release prerequisites, we have seen the release statuses, and also we have added the values of the characteristics in the classification. Now I am going to save it. So you will get the this one TR request number, continue. So this is done. Okay, the last part is release simulation. Okay, so just click on the release simulation. So here we can see here there are three release codes, T1, T2 and T3. And here, we will simulate the release here. Click on simulate release box, checkbox here. Click on once you click on simulate release, this pop-up will come here. Here we can see the release code T1. Here release possible. That means T1 can release the purchase requisition. Double click on T1. Release already affected. That means T1 has released it. Once T1 has released it, T2 can release it. Or release is possible by T2. Double click on T2. Okay, so here release already affected. That means T2 has released. Now T3 can release it. So we can see here release possible. Okay, once T1 and T2 have released this one, still the status of the requisition will be blocked. Okay, now once T3 releases, okay, then the status will change. Here, double click on T3, we can see that the status of the purchase requisition has changed to RFQ or purchase order. That means that purchase requisition can be converted to RFQ or purchase order. Okay, so here, if you want, if you want to see it again, I will reset it again. 1 minute, close it, click on simulate release. This pop-up will come here. T1 release possible. Double click on T1. So once T1 has released, T2 can release it, possible by T2. So once T1 has released, it is blocked, status is blocked, and T2 can release the purchase requisition. Okay, double click on T2. So T2 has released it, again it is status will be blocked. Okay, now ultimately T3 can release it, double click on T3. Now the indicator or the status will be RFQ or purchase order. That means the purchase requisition can be converted to RFQ, request for quotation or purchase order. Okay, so the configuration of the release strategy for overall release of the purchase requisition is completed. Done. Now we will test this purchase requisition strategy for total or overall release of the purchase requisition. Let me go back to my document here. So here, so I have specific material we can use it actually. So testing the release strategy. We will test both the positive test and also negative test. We will do both positive as well as negative test. In the positive test, we will create a purchase requisition with this document type ZRNB for this plant 9110 purchasing group M02, and we will use this material R10001, and the price of this material is 6,000 INR, and the quantity, okay, 9. Okay, because for one it is 6,000, for 6 pieces it will be 54,000. It is more than 50,000 rupees, because here in the configuration, right, the characteristics values here what we have given is it is more than 50,000 rupees. Okay, as we have seen here, which is R1TT. Click on display classification. We have seen it as more than 50,000 INR. Okay, so now we will create a purchase requisition. Okay, let me open a new screen. The transaction code to create a purchase requisition is ME51N. Click here. Okay, here, the first thing what you have to select is the document type. Document type, we will use it as the ZRNB. PR document type for overall release. This is very important. The material is R-10001. Quantity is, what is the quantity here? Let me again go back to the document here. Quantity is 9. 9 plant. Plant is 9110 and the purchasing group is M03. 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 Okay, just press enter. Okay. Here, if you see the valuation, the total value is 54,000. Okay, which is more than 50,000 rupees. Here, click on check. Yeah, here we can see here the release strategy is activated here, because here in the total release of the purchase acquisition, the release strategy tab will be in the header level. Whereas for the item wise release of the purchase acquisition, the release strategy tab, we had seen it at the item level down in the item details. Okay, now we can see here the release strategy TT. Okay, for the total release of the purchase acquisition with the release group R1 is activated here. We can see the release codes T1 purchase supervisor, T2 purchase manager, and T3 plant manager. Okay, now we will save this one. Okay, so we have created a successfully, we have created a purchase acquisition, and now we will just display this one. The number is 16095. Here, click on other purchase acquisition. Automatically, the same number will come here, and click on other document. This will be displayed. Okay. Now we will release this purchase acquisition. How to release it? There is a T code to release the purchase acquisition, single purchase acquisition, which is ME54N. Okay, put here ME54N. Here you can see here the release strategy. Sorry, here what is the number? 16095, right? 16095 here. Okay, go to ME54N, and here we had used very important. As soon as you go here, by default it will show some previous purchase acquisition. You have to click on this one, other purchase acquisition, and our requisition number is 16095 ending with. Click on other document. Okay, we can see the release strategy tab here activated. Click here and we can release this purchase acquisition by the different release codes. First T1 will release it. We can see here it is release possible. Okay. Okay, for the T1, click on the green checkbox here. Okay, so T1 has released. Now T2 can release it. Okay, click on the green or release checkbox. T2 has released. T2 has released it. Status is green released. And now T3 can release it. Okay, so here click on this release button, green checkbox here. Now we can see here this is release, and the release indicator will be 2, which is the purchase acquisition can be converted to RFQ or purchase order. Okay, so when T1 had released, the release indicator was yes, which was blocked. Here it was yes. When T2 had released, it was again yes, blocked. When T3 has released, the release indicator is 2, which is it can be converted to RFQ or purchase order. Now save. Okay, so the purchase acquisition is released actually. Now this is the positive test. We will do a negative test actually. For the negative test, we will create a purchase acquisition for okay, for the same material in which the total value should be less than 50,000 rupees. We'll do it for 8 pieces. Okay, let me create a new purchase acquisition. Okay, go to ME51N. ME51N, enter. Okay, again, since this is for overall or total release of purchase acquisition, we have to use document type ZRNB. ZRNB material R-10001 quantity. Here it is. Quantity will be 8 because one is 6,000 rupees for one piece. 8. Okay, 8 into 6, 48,000. Okay, plant is 9110. Purchasing group will be M03. M03. Okay, now enter. We can see here what is the valuation. Total valuation price is 6,000. Here total is 48,000 rupees, which is less than 50,000 rupees. So we can see here at the header level, the release strategy tab page is not there. Okay, even we click check here, no messages issued during check. Again, we can see release strategy tab is missing at the header. That means since the value of the purchase, total value of the requisition is less than 50,000 rupees, which is 48,000 rupees, no release strategy will be applicable, or the release strategy will be applicable only if the value of the requisition is more than 50,000. Okay, so here, even if you change it to more than 50,000, like 9, see here, 9, and press enter, and click on this check, we can see here the release strategy activated. Okay, that means here, if I create a purchase requisition, again I will change it to 8, click on check. Here, if you click on check, see that tab page release strategy at the header has gone. No messages should during check. That means this purchase requisition for a value 48,000, which is less than 50,000 rupees, is not subject to the release strategy. I am going to save this. This is the purchase requisition ending with 16096. Okay, click on this other purchase requisition, this button. Here we can see that this purchase requisition doesn't have any release strategy tab in the header, or this is not subject to any release strategy at all, because the total value here is less than 50,000 rupees. Okay, so this is the negative test for the testing of the overall release of the purchase requisition, which has successfully passed. Thank you for watching this video, and we will meet in the next video, in which we will create and test a new release strategy for the external purchasing document like purchase order. Thanks again. Thank you.